Everyone at Westlake High School noticed the new girl right away. It wasn't just because new students rarely came in the middle of fall semester, it was how she moved through the hallways, one hand gripping a slender white cane that swept gently from side to side, her other hand sometimes brushing against lockers to steady herself. Mei Lin had been blind since birth. At 16, she had learned to navigate the world in her own way, but starting at a new school always meant facing the same challenges all over again. Finding classrooms, memorizing how many steps between places, learning new voices without faces to match them to. Her family had moved from Boston after her father got transferred for work. The move had been hard on everyone, but especially on Mei. In Boston, people knew her. Teachers understood her needs without her having to explain. Friends didn't make a big deal when she needed help reading something or finding a dropped pencil. "It'll get better," her mom had promised that morning as she dropped Mei off. "Just give it time." Mei had nodded and forced a smile, but inside she felt that familiar knot of anxiety. New places were always the hardest. New people even harder. "Excuse me," she said, stopping a passing student in the hallway. "Could you point me toward room 214? I'm new here." "Oh, sure," the student replied, her voice tinged with surprise and that slight awkwardness Mei had heard 1,000 times before. It's straight ahead and then right at the end of the hall." "Thanks," Mei said, already mentally counting the steps she would need to take. The morning passed in a blur of introductions and whispers. Mei could always hear the whispers even when people thought they were being quiet. Is she really blind? How does she know what clothes to wear? Do you think she needs help with everything? She pretended not to hear them. She'd gotten good at that over the years. By lunchtime, Mei had memorized the route from her locker to her morning classes. But the cafeteria was still a mystery of sounds and smells and too many people moving unpredictably. She stood in the doorway hesitating. "Need some help?" The voice belonged to an older woman, probably a teacher or staff member. "I'm just trying to figure out where the lunch line starts," Mei explained. "I'm Mrs. Patterson, the lunch coordinator." "Come with me, dear." A gentle hand touched her elbow and Mei allowed herself to be guided across the room. "What's your name, honey?" Mrs. Patterson asked as they walked. "Mei Lin," she replied. "I just started today." "Well, welcome to Westlake." "Mei Lin, I'll help you get set up." Mrs. Patterson explained the cafeteria layout as they moved through the lunch line, describing where everything was positioned on her tray. Mei appreciated the woman's matter-of-fact approach, no pity, just practical help. "There's a table near the window that's usually pretty quiet," Mrs. Patterson suggested once Mei's tray was full. "Would you like me to walk you there?" "Yes, please," Mei said, relieved. The cafeteria buzzed with the energy of hundreds of teenagers. But as Mrs. Patterson led her through the maze of tables, Mei noticed the conversations dimming as they passed. She could feel eyes on her, the new girl, the blind girl, the curiosity. "Here we are," Mrs. Patterson said, guiding Mei's hand to the edge of a table. "If you need anything else, just ask anyone for Mrs. Patterson, okay?" "Thank you," Mei said, carefully settling onto the bench. She was halfway through her lunch when she heard someone approach. "Is this seat taken?" The voice belonged to a girl, soft-spoken but friendly. "No, go ahead," Mei replied. "I'm Lily," the girl said, sitting down across from her. "You're in my English class. Mrs. Davenport introduced you, but she didn't make you say anything embarrassing about yourself, which was nice of her." Mei laughed. "That's a relief." "I'm Mei." "Cool name," Lily said. "So Boston, huh? That must be really different from here." The conversation flowed easily after that. Lily didn't ask about Mei's blindness, which was refreshing. Instead, they talked about teachers and homework and Lily's complaints about the school's outdated music department. "Do you play anything?" Lily asked between bites of what sounded like a very crunchy apple. "Piano," Mei said. "Since I was 4. No way." "That's awesome. I play guitar, but I'm not very good yet. Been learning for like a year." "Do you know if there's a piano here at school?" Mei asked. It had been nearly 2 weeks since she'd been able to play with all the chaos of moving. "Yeah, there's a grand piano in the music room. It's old, but Mr. Rivera, he's the music teacher, keeps it tuned. He's super passionate about it." "Does the school do any performances or anything?" Mei asked, trying to sound casual. "Actually, there's a talent show coming up in a few weeks. Mr. Rivera mentioned it in music appreciation yesterday. You should totally sign up." The thought both excited and terrified Mei. Playing in front of strangers was always nerve-wracking. but it might also help her find her place here. Maybe I will, she said. After lunch, May had math, then history, and finally, her last class of the day, music appreciation with Mr. Rivera. Lily had the same class and offered to walk with her. Mr. Rivera is the coolest teacher here, Lily explained as they walked. He used to play with some big orchestra in Chicago before he moved here to teach. The music room smelled of wood polish and paper. Mr. Rivera had a deep, resonant voice that reminded May of her grandfather, warm and patient. "We have a new student joining us today," he announced to the class. "Maylin, welcome to Westlake. Do you have any musical experience you'd like to share with us?" Normally, May hated being put on the spot, but when it came to music, she felt different, more confident. "I play piano," she said. "Classical mostly, but I like movie soundtracks too." "Wonderful." Mr. Rivera sounded genuinely pleased. "We have a decent grand piano right here. Perhaps sometime you might favor us with a demonstration." "Maybe," May said, smiling slightly. As class ended, Mr. Rivera called her over. "May, I wonder if you might stay for a moment. I'd like to talk to you about something." Lily squeezed her arm. "Want me to wait?" "No, that's okay," May said. "I can find my way to the front entrance from here." After the room cleared out, Mr. Rivera pulled up a chair near May. "Lily mentioned you might be interested in our upcoming talent show," he said. "I'm thinking about it," May admitted. "The piano doesn't get nearly enough use," he continued. "Most students these days want to play guitar or drums." "Do you have a favorite piece?" "Several," May said. "I've been working on Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2 for a while now." There was a pause, and May could almost feel Mr. Rivera's surprise. "That's quite advanced," he said finally. May shrugged. "I've been playing a long time. Would you mind if I heard a little? Just to get an idea of your level?" May hesitated. She'd been hoping to practice privately first to get a feel for this unfamiliar piano. "It's just us," Mr. Rivera assured her. "The next class uses the room across the hall." "Okay," she agreed. Mr. Rivera guided her to the piano bench, describing the room's layout as they walked. "The piano's a bit old, but I had it tuned last month. The action is a little heavy on the lower register." May ran her fingers lightly over the keys, getting a feel for the spacing and resistance. It was indeed an older model, the ivory keys smooth from years of use. She played a few scales to warm up, then took a deep breath and began the opening chords of the Rachmaninoff piece. The music filled the room, washing away her nervousness. This was her world, where blindness didn't matter, where she could see through her fingers and her ears. The piece started slow and melancholy, building gradually in complexity and emotion. May lost herself in it, forgetting about Mr. Rivera, forgetting about being the new girl, forgetting about everything except the music flowing through her. When she finished the first movement, the silence felt heavy. That was... Mr. Rivera seemed to be searching for words. "Extraordinary. Truly extraordinary." May felt her cheeks warm at the praise. "You must sign up for the talent show," he continued. "We have some very good musicians here, but nothing at your level." "I'll think about it," May promised. "The sign-up sheet is on the bulletin board outside. I can help you with that right now if you'd like." 5 minutes later, May's name was officially on the list for the Westlake High Talent Show. As Mr. Rivera walked her to the front entrance to wait for her mom, May felt a mix of excitement and nerves. Playing in the talent show would mean putting herself out there, making herself visible in a way that went beyond being the blind girl. What she didn't know was that 3 students had paused outside the music room door during her impromptu performance. They had listened, then exchanged looks of disbelief. "No way she can play like that in front of everyone," one whispered. "She'll totally freeze up." "This talent show just got interesting," another replied with a smirk. As May waited for her mom, she felt something shift inside her. For the first time since moving, she felt a small spark of hope. Here, in this new place, maybe she could be known for something other than what she couldn't do. Maybe, just maybe, she could be known for the music she could create. She didn't hear the whispers starting already, the plans being made, or know about the challenges that lay ahead. For now, she just felt the afternoon sun on her face and thought about the feel of those piano keys beneath her fingers. For now, that was enough. Word spread quickly about the blind girl who had signed up for the talent show. By the next morning, it seemed like everyone at Westlake High knew about May Lynn and her piano playing. "Hey, did you hear Mr. Rivera freaking out about the new girl?" A tall boy named Drew asked his friends as they gathered around his locker before first period. Drew was the captain of the basketball team and one of the most popular boys in school. The blind one? His friend Tanner asked, leaning against the lockers. What about her? Apparently she's some kind of piano genius or something, Drew said with a shrug. Rivera was telling Mrs. Davenport about it in the teacher's lounge. I heard him when I was dropping off that late assignment. No way, said Zoe, Drew's girlfriend since freshman year. She twirled a strand of blonde hair around her finger. How can someone who can't see even play piano? Blind people can do lots of things, said Penny, the fourth member of their group. My cousin is deaf and she's an amazing dancer. That's not the same thing, Zoe said, rolling her eyes. Dancing is about feeling the beat. Playing piano is about reading music and stuff. Whatever, Drew said. All I know is she signed up for the talent show and Rivera thinks she's going to win. Seriously? Tanner frowned. But you've been practicing your guitar solo for weeks. Drew had won the talent show 2 years in a row, first with a drum solo, then with an acoustic guitar performance. He was counting on a third win this year. I'm not worried, Drew said, but the slight edge in his voice suggested otherwise. I mean, come on. It's probably just some sympathy thing. Teachers always do that. Just then they spotted May walking down the hall with Lily beside her. May's cane tapped rhythmically against the floor as they walked, Lily chatting animatedly beside her. That's her, Drew murmured. Let's see what the fuss is about. The four of them watched as May navigated the crowded hallway. She moved with surprising confidence for someone who couldn't see where she was going. I don't get it, Zoe whispered. She seems so normal. Maybe Rivera was exaggerating, Tanner suggested. You know how he gets about his music students. Only one way to find out, Drew said with a smirk. He stepped into May's path, forcing her to stop when her cane touched his shoe. Excuse me, May said politely, trying to step around the obstacle. You're the new girl, right? Drew asked. The pianist? Lily gave him a suspicious look. We need to get to class, Drew. Just being friendly, Drew said, his voice all innocence. We heard you signed up for the talent show. That's pretty brave. May tilted her head slightly. Why is it brave? Well, you know, Drew said with a shrug she couldn't see. It's a big stage. Lots of pressure. People watching. I've performed before, May said simply. Cool, cool. Drew nodded. What are you going to play? Rachmaninoff, May replied. Piano Concerto No. 2. Drew glanced at his friends, eyebrows raised. He had no idea what that was, but it sounded complicated. Impressive, he said, though his tone suggested otherwise. Well, good luck. May the best performer win. As May and Lily continued down the hall, Zoe nudged Drew. What was that about? Just sizing up the competition, Drew replied. Don't worry about it, but he was worried. The calm confidence in May's voice had caught him off guard. She didn't seem nervous or intimidated at all. We should check her out, Tanner suggested. See if she's actually any good? How? Penny asked. Rivera lets her practice in the music room after school, Drew said. We could stop by, say we forgot something. That's kind of weird, Penny frowned. Why do you even care? I just want to know what I'm up against, Drew insisted. Come on, it'll be fun. Later that day, May sat alone in the music room, her fingers dancing across the piano keys. She had stayed after school to practice, grateful that Mr. Rivera had given her permission to use the room whenever she wanted. The familiar notes of Rachmaninoff flowed around her, filling the empty space. She was so absorbed in the music that she didn't hear the door open, didn't notice the 4 students who slipped quietly into the back of the room. Drew had expected to catch her fumbling, maybe playing something simple and basic. What he heard instead made him freeze in the doorway. The music was unlike anything he'd ever heard in person. Complex, emotional, powerful, May's hands moved across the keyboard with incredible speed and precision, never hesitating, never missing a note. Her face was transformed, all the uncertainty gone, replaced by an expression of complete peace and confidence. Holy, Tanner whispered. The rest of his sentence lost in the music. Beside him, Zoe and Penny stood silent, watching with wide eyes. Drew felt something uncomfortable twist in his stomach. This wasn't just good, it was extraordinary. The kind of talent that made his guitar playing look like a child banging on pots and pans. As the piece reached a crescendo, May swayed slightly on the bench, completely lost in the performance. There was something almost otherworldly about it, as if she could see something the rest of them couldn't. Drew pulled out his phone and hit record. If his friends didn't believe this, he'd have proof. When May finally finished, the sudden silence felt heavy. She sat still for a moment, hands resting lightly on the keys, a small smile on her face. Then Penny, forgetting they were supposed to be silent observers, began to clap. May's head jerked up, the smile vanishing. "Who's there?" she called, her voice sharp with surprise. Drew shoved his phone in his pocket and cleared his throat. Just us. We were passing by and heard you playing." "Who is us?" May asked, her hands now folded tightly in her lap. "Drew, Tanner, Zoe, and Penny," Zoe replied, elbowing Drew in the ribs. "Sorry if we startled you." "It's fine," May said, though her posture remained tense. "I just wasn't expecting an audience." "You're really good," Penny said sincerely. "Like, seriously amazing." "Thanks," May replied, a hint of color rising in her cheeks. Drew said nothing, still processing what he'd just heard. How was he supposed to compete with that? "How long have you been playing?" Tanner asked, stepping closer to the piano. "Since I was 4, May said. "My mother taught piano before we moved here. She started me early." "That explains it," Zoe murmured. An awkward silence fell over the room. May began gathering her things, clearly uncomfortable with their presence. "Well, we should get going," Drew said finally. "Nice meeting you, May." As they left the music room, the 4 friends exchanged looks. None of them spoke until they were outside the building. "She's going to win," Penny said flatly. "There's no way anyone else even comes close." "Maybe not," Drew replied, but he didn't sound convinced. "The judges might not be into classical music. My rock arrangement could still work." "Dude, are you serious?" Tanner laughed. "Did you hear what I just heard?" She was playing with her eyes closed. "Her eyes are always closed, genius." Zoe rolled her eyes. "She's blind." "You know what I mean?" Tanner shot back. "It was like professional level stuff." Drew pulled out his phone, looking at the video he'd recorded. "Yeah, well, we'll see what happens." That night, Drew couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about May's playing, about the look on her face as her fingers flew across the keys. For the first time in his life, he felt genuinely outclassed. No amount of practice would get him to her level. The next morning, he pulled Tanner aside before class. "I've been thinking," he said in a low voice, "about the talent show." "Yeah?" Tanner raised an eyebrow. "You backing out?" "No way," Drew shook his head. "But maybe we could, I don't know, throw her off her game a little?" "What do you mean?" Tanner frowned. "Nothing bad," Drew assured him quickly. "Just, make her nervous. Everyone gets stage fright, right? Maybe if there's more pressure, she'll mess up." "That's kinda messed up, man," Tanner said, looking uncomfortable. "It's just a talent show," Drew argued. "And it's not like I'm going to do anything to hurt her, just psychological stuff." Tanner hesitated. "I don't know. Look, I've got this video of her playing," Drew said, pulling out his phone. "We could post it online, get people talking about how good she is. Build up expectations so high she gets nervous." "And how exactly is sharing a video of her being amazing going to mess her up?" "Because everyone will be watching," Drew explained. "Everyone will be expecting perfection. Trust me, that kind of pressure gets to people." What Drew didn't say was how much he needed this win. His college application was riding on his well-rounded image. And 3-time talent show champion looked a lot better than 2-time champion who got beaten by the new girl. "Let me think about it," Tanner said finally. But Drew had already made up his mind. Later that day, he uploaded the video to his social media account with the caption, "Wait till you hear the blind girl play at the talent show. Westlake's got a prodigy." By lunchtime, everyone was talking about it. And by the end of the day, May could feel the whispers following her through the hallways. Whispers that fell silent whenever she got close. Something had changed, and she wasn't sure what. But for the first time since arriving at Westlake, she felt afraid of what was coming. By the next morning, Drew's video had spread throughout the school. Students who had never spoken to May were suddenly finding reasons to pass by her in the hallway or sit near her at lunch. Some were genuinely impressed by her talent, while others were simply curious about the girl everyone was talking about. May noticed the change immediately. There were more voices around her, more footsteps slowing as they passed, more whispers that stopped when she came near. It made her uncomfortable, this sudden attention she couldn't see. "What's going on?" she asked Lily at lunch. "Everyone's acting weird today." Lily hesitated, picking at her sandwich. So there's a video going around. A video? May frowned. Of what? Of you? Playing piano in the music room yesterday? May's stomach dropped. Someone recorded me? Without asking? Yeah, Drew posted it online. It's got hundreds of comments already. May set down her fork, her appetite gone. What kind of comments? Good ones mostly, Lily assured her quickly. Everyone's amazed at how well you play, but what? Lily sighed. Drew's caption was kind of, I don't know. It felt like he was making it into a bigger deal than it needed to be, like he was setting up some kind of showdown at the talent show. May felt her cheeks grow warm. She hated being the center of attention, hated the idea of people watching a video of her when she hadn't known she was being recorded. Can I hear some of the comments? She asked quietly. Lily pulled out her phone. Let's see. This is insane. How does she play like that without seeing the keys? New girl's going to crush the talent show. Drew's reign as talent show king is over. She paused. There are a lot like that, May groaned. Great, so now I'm not just the blind new girl. I'm the blind new girl who's supposed to beat the popular kid at the talent show. If it helps. I think Drew's the one who should be worried, Lily said. You're way better than him, but that didn't help at all. May hadn't entered the talent show to beat anyone. She'd done it to feel normal, to share the one thing that made her feel connected to the world. Now it was turning into some kind of competition she never asked for. After lunch, May headed to her locker to get her books for English class. As she ran her fingers over the braille labels she'd placed on each book, she heard footsteps approach and stop in front of her. Hey! She recognized the voice immediately. Drew. Her shoulders tensed. What do you want? She asked, not bothering to turn toward him. Just wanted to see how you're doing, he said, his voice carefully casual. You're kind of famous now. Because of your video, May replied coldly. The one you took without asking. Come on, it's not a big deal, Drew laughed. Everyone's loving it. You should be thanking me. Now the whole school knows how good you are. I didn't want the whole school to know. Why not? Afraid of a little pressure? There was something in his tone now, a hint of challenge. May closed her locker. Is that what this is about? You're trying to psych me out before the talent show? Drew was silent for a moment, and May wished more than ever that she could see his face, read his expression. Look, he finally said, I've won the talent show 2 years in a row. It's kind of my thing, and you're worried I might beat you. May finished for him. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. May adjusted her backpack strap. I'm not interested in your competition, Drew. I'm just playing because I love music. Right, Drew said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. Well, good luck with that. Just don't be surprised if things get a little intense from here on out. The talent show's a big deal at Westlake. Before May could respond, he was gone, footsteps receding down the hall. She stood there for a moment, hands gripping her cane tightly, trying to calm the flutter of anxiety in her chest. She wasn't sure what Drew meant by intense, but she had a feeling she was about to find out. The rest of the week proved her right. Everywhere she went, people were talking about the talent show, about her versus Drew. Some students she'd never met before came up to her between classes to wish her luck or tell her they'd be cheering for her. Others, Drew's friends, she assumed, made comments just loud, enough for her to hear. Hope she doesn't freeze up on stage. Wonder if she gets special treatment because she's blind. Bet she's not that good when she's not in an empty room. By Friday, May was exhausted from the constant attention. When the final bell rang, she headed straight for the music room, desperate for the peace that only playing could bring her. But when she opened the door, she could tell immediately that something was wrong. The room smelled different, the usual scent of wood and paper overlaid with something chemical and sharp. Hello? She called, stepping inside cautiously. Mr. Rivera, no answer. The room was empty. May made her way carefully to the piano, her cane tapping against the tiled floor. When she reached it, she ran her hand along the polished wood of the lid, then down to the fallboard covering the keys. She lifted it, expecting the smooth feel of ivory beneath her fingertips. Instead, something sticky coated the keys. What? She murmured, pulling her hand back in surprise. Just then the door opened behind her. May, what are you doing here so? Mr. Rivera's voice cut off abruptly. What in the world? Something's on the piano keys, May said, holding up her hand. It's sticky. She heard Mr. Rivera cross the room quickly, then a sharp intake of breath. "Someone put honey on the keys," he said, his voice tight with anger. "It's all over the keyboard." May felt her throat tighten. "Honey?" "Yes, and wait, there's a note." Paper rustled. "Thought you might need something sweet to help the medicine go down when you lose. Good luck practicing." It's not signed. May didn't need a signature to know who it was from. The message was clear. Drew was escalating his tactics. "I'll clean this up," Mr. Rivera said, his voice gentle now, "and I'll report this to Principal Winters. This kind of behavior is completely unacceptable." "No," May said quickly. "Please don't report it. May, this is vandalism, and it's clearly targeted harassment." "If you report it, it'll just make things worse," she insisted. "Please, Mr. Rivera, I can handle this." There was a long pause before Mr. Rivera sighed. "All right. But if anything else happens, I'm going straight to the principal. No arguments." It took nearly an hour to clean the honey from the piano keys. Mr. Rivera was thorough, making sure none of the sticky substance remained to damage the instrument. May sat quietly nearby, her thoughts racing. "All done," Mr. Rivera announced finally. "Good as new. Do you still want to practice?" May nodded, rising to her feet. "Yes, that's why I came. I'll stay with you," he offered. "Grade some papers while you play." "Thank you," May said, settling onto the piano bench. She placed her fingers on the keys, now clean but still smelling faintly of lemon cleaner and honey. As she began to play, she pushed everything else away, Drew, the video, the whispers, the honey, and let herself fall into the music. The familiar notes of Rachmaninoff filled the room, growing more confident with each measure. Mr. Rivera watched her from his desk, amazed as always by the transformation that came over her when she played. The uncertain girl disappeared, replaced by someone strong and sure, someone who knew exactly who she was and what she could do. When she finished the piece, he applauded softly. "Magnificent, May. Truly magnificent." She smiled, the first genuine smile he'd seen from her all week. "I think I'm ready for the talent show, Mr. Rivera." "More than ready," he agreed. "But May, be careful. Whoever did this," he gestured to the now clean piano. "They're not playing fair." "I know," she said quietly. "But neither am I." "What do you mean?" May's smile grew slightly. "They think they can throw me off by messing with the piano or spreading videos or trying to make me nervous. But they don't understand something important." "What's that?" "When you've been blind your whole life, you learn to deal with the unexpected. You learn to adapt. And most importantly," her fingers brushed lightly over the keys, "you learn that some things can't be seen, only felt." She began to play again, a different piece this time. Something soft and gentle that Mr. Rivera didn't recognize. "What is that?" he asked when she paused. "It's beautiful. Something I wrote," May replied. "I've been working on it for a while. I'm thinking of playing it for the talent show instead of the Rachmaninoff." "Why the change?" May's hands rested lightly on the keys. "Because the Rachmaninoff is about skill. This is about heart. And I think that's what I need to show them." As Mr. Rivera listened to her continue playing, he realized that Drew and his friends had made a serious miscalculation. They thought they were dealing with just a talented girl they could intimidate. They had no idea they were up against someone whose whole life had been about overcoming obstacles far greater than anything they could create. The talent show was a week away, and Mr. Rivera had a feeling that Westlake High was about to witness something unforgettable. The day of the talent show arrived, with a buzz of excitement that swept through Westlake High. Posters lined the hallways. Announcements blared over the intercom, and students chatted about nothing else between classes. The afternoon performance had somehow turned into the biggest event of the school year. May could feel the energy in the air as she made her way through the crowded hallways. More people than usual called out greetings as she passed. Some she recognized, many she didn't. Everyone wanted to be able to say they knew the blind pianist before her big performance. "Nervous?" Lily asked as they sat together at lunch. May poked at her food, appetite nowhere to be found. "A little," she admitted. "But not about playing." "What then?" "All these people watching. The expectations," May sighed. "Did you see the new posters someone put up? Battle of the Champions with Drew's name and mine like we're boxers or something." "Yeah, those appeared this morning," Lily said. "Drew's friends, I think. They're trying to hype it up like it's a competition." "That's the problem," May said. "It shouldn't be a competition." Music isn't about winning or losing. It's about feeling something. Sharing something. Lily reached across the table and squeezed her hand, then showed them that tonight. Make them feel what you feel when you play. May smiled, grateful for her friend's support. I'll try. Across the cafeteria, Drew sat with his friend's guitar case propped against the wall beside him. He'd been practicing non-stop for the past week, reworking his performance, adding more complicated riffs, pushing himself harder than ever before. You ready for tonight? Tanner asked, stealing a fry from Drew's tray. Born ready, Drew replied with more confidence than he felt. Got something special planned. Better be good, Zoe said, scrolling through her phone. Everyone's talking about May. The video's got over 1,000 views now. Drew frowned. His plan to intimidate May by sharing the video had backfired spectacularly. Instead of making her nervous, it had turned her into the school celebrity. Even some of the teachers were excited to hear her play. Trust me, he said, tonight's going to be unforgettable. As the final bell rang, students rushed to get good seats in the auditorium. The talent show wasn't scheduled to start until 7 p.m., but the excitement had been building all day. Teachers struggled to keep students focused on their lessons, eventually giving up and discussing the upcoming performances instead. May spent the last period in the music room, running through her piece one final time. Her fingers danced over the keys, finding the notes by touch and memory, the melody flowing around her like a gentle river. When she finished, she sat quietly, hands resting in her lap. Was she really ready for this? The piece she'd decided to play was her own composition, something deeply personal. Sharing it with the whole school felt like opening a door to her soul and inviting everyone to look inside. That was beautiful. May jumped, startled by the voice. She hadn't heard anyone enter the room. Who's there? She asked, turning toward the sound. It's Penny, Drew's friend. The girl sounded hesitant, almost embarrassed. Sorry, I didn't mean to sneak up on you. It's okay, May said, though she remained tense. After the honey incident, she was wary of Drew and anyone associated with him. Did you need something? Footsteps approached, and May heard Penny sit down on a nearby chair. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For what? For Drew. For the honey on the piano. For the posters. All of it. Penny's voice was quiet but sincere. He's being stupid about this whole thing. May was silent for a moment, surprised by the unexpected apology. Why are you telling me this? Because I heard you playing just now, Penny said simply. And it made me cry. I don't even know why. It felt like you were saying something important. May smiled slightly. That's the best compliment anyone could give. Are you playing that piece tonight? Yes, good. Penny stood up. Drew's going on right before you, by the way. He requested it. Wanted to be the tough act to follow or something dumb like that. Thanks for the warning, May said. One more thing, Penny added, pausing at the door. Drew's planning something for your performance. I don't know what exactly, but he and Tanner were whispering about it earlier. Something about making sure you feel the pressure. Just be prepared, okay? Before May could ask what that meant, Penny was gone, the door clicking shut behind her. May sat for a long moment, turning Penny's words over in her mind. Drew was planning something to throw her off during her performance. The question was what? As evening approached, the auditorium filled to capacity. Parents, teachers, and students squeezed into every available seat. The buzz of conversation growing louder as 7 p.m. neared. Mr. Rivera had arranged for May's parents to have front row seats, and they waited anxiously, programs clutched in their hands. Backstage, the performers gathered in nervous clusters, some practicing last minute, others peeking through the curtains at the growing crowd. May sat alone in a corner, her cane resting against her leg, fingers tapping out silent rhythms on her knees. You okay? Mr. Rivera asked, stopping beside her. Yes, May nodded. Just focusing. You're on second to last, he reminded her. Right after Drew. I know, Mr. Rivera hesitated. May, if anything happens, anything at all that makes you uncomfortable, you just signal me, okay? I'll be right at the side of the stage. May smiled at his concern. I'll be fine, Mr. Rivera. Really. The lights dimmed and the show began. One by one, the performers took the stage, singers, dancers, a comedian, a juggler. The audience applauded politely for each, but there was a sense of anticipation building, everyone waiting for the main event. Finally, it was Drew's turn. The audience erupted in cheers as he strode onto the stage, guitar slung across his body, confidence in every step. He'd been a popular student before the talent show drama, and many were there specifically to see him perform. "What's he doing?" May whispered to Lily, who had come backstage to sit with her. "He's got his electric guitar," Lily described. "Blue spotlights. He looks really intense." Drew adjusted the microphone. "Thanks for coming out tonight, everyone. This song is called Seeing in the Dark. I wrote it this week and it's about, well, you'll figure it out." The first notes rang out, harsh and loud, followed by a driving beat that filled the auditorium. As he began to sing, May realized with a sinking feeling that the song was about her. Not directly, nothing that could get him in trouble, but the lyrics spoke of hidden talents and surprising skills and what lies beneath the surface. It wasn't cruel, exactly, but there was something calculating about it, as if Drew was trying to co-opt her story, make it part of his narrative. "He's good," Lily admitted reluctantly. "The audience is really into it." May nodded, listening intently to the performance. Drew was talented, no question. His guitar playing was skilled, his voice strong and clear. The song itself was catchy, with a chorus that had people clapping along by the second repeat. When he finished, the auditorium erupted in applause and cheers. Drew soaked it in, bowing dramatically, blowing kisses to the crowd. "Thank you, Westlake High," he called out as he left the stage, passing close to May as he headed backstage. "Beat that," he whispered, just loud enough for her to hear. "And now," the MC announced, "our final performer of the evening. Please welcome May Lin, playing an original piano composition." Lily squeezed May's hand. "You've got this." May took a deep breath and stood, unfolding her cane. She made her way carefully to the stage, counting steps as she went. When she reached the center, the spotlight warm on her face, she could feel hundreds of eyes watching her, the weight of their attention almost physical. The piano waited at the side of the stage. Mr. Rivera had made sure it was positioned exactly where they had practiced, so May could find it easily. She made her way to the bench and sat down, adjusting her position slightly. A hush fell over the audience. The silence stretched for 1 beat, 2, 3. May placed her hands on the keys, and then from somewhere in the middle of the auditorium came a laugh. A deliberate, mocking chuckle, followed by another and another, spreading through a section of the audience where Drew's friends were seated. The planned disruption. Just as Penny had warned, May froze, her fingers hovering over the keys. She could hear whispers now, confused murmurs from the audience, someone shushing the laughers, a teacher's stern voice calling for respect. Her heart pounded in her chest. This was exactly what Drew wanted, to throw her off balance, make her nervous, ruin her concentration before she played a single note. For a moment, she considered walking off the stage. It would be the easiest thing to do, to escape the laughter, the pressure, the spotlight. But then she thought of all the times in her life when she'd been underestimated, all the people who had seen only what she couldn't do, never what she could. She thought of her parents in the front row, who had believed in her talent from the beginning. She thought of Mr. Rivera, who had given her the chance to share her music. She thought of Lily, whose friendship had made a new school bearable. May took a deep breath, straightened her back and placed her fingers on the keys once more, and began to play. The first notes May played were soft, almost hesitant, barely audible over the lingering chuckles. But as her fingers settled into the familiar patterns, the melody grew stronger, more confident. The laughter died away, replaced by a curious silence. This wasn't the complex classical piece everyone had expected. There were no dramatic flourishes or technical displays. Instead, May played something gentle and haunting, a melody that seemed to ask a question no one could quite put into words. In the audience, May's parents leaned forward, surprised. They had never heard this composition before. Mr. Rivera watched from the side of the stage, equally puzzled. This wasn't the piece May had been practicing for weeks. The music flowed through the auditorium, simple yet somehow profound. It was like listening to someone tell a story not with words but with notes that rose and fell like a human voice. There was loneliness in the melody, a sense of searching, of reaching out into darkness. And then gradually the tone shifted. A new theme emerged, brighter and more hopeful. The two melodies began to dance around each other. The searching theme and the hopeful one, separate at first, then intertwining, supporting each other, becoming something greater than either could be alone. In the third row, Lily wiped away a tear. Somehow, without saying a word, May was telling them what it felt like to be her. The isolation of being different. The courage it took to keep going and the joy of finding connection through music. Drew sat frozen in his seat, the mocking smile long gone from his face. He had expected May to play something technically impressive but emotionally distant, the kind of classical music that won competitions but left audiences cold. This was something else entirely. This was real. As the piece reached its climax, May swayed slightly on the bench, completely lost in the music she was creating. Her face, usually guarded and careful, was transformed. Open, vulnerable, radiant with a kind of inner light. She wasn't performing. She was sharing something precious, inviting everyone present into her world. The final notes hung in the air, delicate and questioning, before resolving into a quiet chord that seemed to say, "I am here. I am listening. Are you?" Then silence. For 3 heartbeats, no one moved. No one breathed. Then someone in the back row began to clap. Another person joined in, then another, until the entire auditorium erupted in thunderous applause. People rose to their feet, some wiping away tears, others calling out in appreciation. The standing ovation swelled, washing over May like a wave. She sat still at the piano, hands now resting in her lap, a small surprised smile on her face. She hadn't expected this response. She had simply played what was in her heart, not caring if it was good enough to win a talent show. Mr. Rivera stepped onto the stage, blinking back tears as he guided May to the center for a bow. The applause grew even louder. From the front row, May's mother called out something in Chinese, her voice breaking with emotion. Her father simply clapped until his hands hurt, too overcome to speak. In the third row, Lily jumped up and down, cheering her friend's name. Beside her, Penny stood applauding, pointedly ignoring the glares from Tanner and Zoe, and Drew sat motionless, hands in his lap, staring at the stage with an expression that mixed shame, awe, and something that might have been understanding. The applause continued for nearly 2 minutes, an eternity in talent show terms. When it finally began to quiet, the MC returned to the stage, visibly moved. "Well," he said, clearing his throat, "I think we all just experienced something special. Thank you, May." He glanced down at the card in his hand. "While our judges deliberate, let's take a short intermission." Backstage, performers surrounded May, offering congratulations and asking questions about her composition. She answered them as best she could, still somewhat dazed by the response. "May?" A familiar voice cut through the chatter. "Drew." The other students fell silent, sensing tension. "Yes?" May turned toward his voice, her expression guarded. "Can I talk to you alone?" Lily stepped closer to May. "Anything you have to say, you can say in front of everyone." "It's okay, Lily," May said quietly. "Give us a minute." The others moved away reluctantly, leaving May and Drew in a small bubble of privacy amid the backstage bustle. "That wasn't Rachmaninoff," Drew said finally. "No," May agreed. "It wasn't. You wrote that yourself?" "Yes." Drew was quiet for a moment. "It was... I've never heard anything like it." May waited, unsure where this was going. "Look," Drew said, his voice low and uncomfortable, "about the laughing thing, and the honey on the piano, and the video, all of it. I was being a jerk. Why?" May asked simply. Drew sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Because I was scared, I guess. Music's my thing. The talent show's my thing. And then you showed up and you were so good, better than good, and suddenly I wasn't special anymore." "That's not how music works," May said. "It's not a competition. It's a conversation." "Yeah," Drew said slowly. "I think I'm starting to get that." He paused. "What was that piece called?" "The one you played." May smiled slightly, finding light. "I started writing it after my family moved here, when everything felt strange and dark. It's about learning to see with more than just your eyes." The MC's voice boomed from the stage, calling all performers back for the awards. May unfolded her cane. "We should go," she said. "May," Drew stopped her with a light touch on her arm. "For what it's worth, you deserve to win. Not because you're blind or because your piece made half the audience cry, but because you're just better. You understand what music is really for." Together, they walked back to the stage, joining the line of performers waiting for the results. The judges had finished their deliberations, and the MC held the envelope containing the winners' names. In third place, he announced, with her beautiful vocal performance of Hallelujah, Kim Johnson. Applause filled the auditorium as Kim stepped forward to accept her certificate. In second place, with his original rock composition, Seeing in the Dark, Drew Patterson. More applause, with some whoops and cheers from Drew's basketball teammates. Drew stepped forward, accepted his certificate with a nod, then moved back into line. And the first place winner of this year's Westlake High Talent Show is... The audience held its collective breath. May Lynn, with her original piano composition Finding Light. The auditorium erupted once more, the standing ovation immediate and overwhelming. Mr. Rivera guided May forward to accept her trophy, which she held awkwardly, unused to its weight and shape. "Would you like to say a few words?" the MC asked, holding the microphone toward her. May hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you all for listening, really listening tonight. Music has always been my way of seeing the world, of connecting with people when words aren't enough. I'm new here, and I was afraid I wouldn't find my place. But now I know that when you share something true from your heart, people will hear it, whether they can see you or not." As she stepped back, Drew leaned toward her. "Nice speech, May." "Thanks," she whispered back. "Your song was really good too, you know. Not as good as yours," he admitted. "But maybe you could give me some pointers sometime? I've never really written anything that personal before." "I'd like that," May said, surprised but pleased by the offer. Later, as her parents drove her home, the trophy cradled in her lap, May thought about the strange journey of the past few weeks. She had arrived at Westlake afraid and uncertain, just trying to get through each day without drawing attention. Now somehow she had found not just acceptance but appreciation for the very thing that made her different. Her phone buzzed with a text. Lily had sent a photo with the message, "The moment everyone realized you're amazing." May's mom described the picture to her. May at the piano, head tilted slightly, a look of complete peace on her face as her fingers touched the keys. "Are you happy, sweetheart?" her father asked from the driver's seat. May ran her fingers over the smooth surface of the trophy, thinking of Drew's awkward apology, of Lily's unwavering friendship, of Mr. Rivera's belief in her talent, of the sound of hundreds of people rising to their feet after she played. "Yes," she said simply. "I am." As they turned onto their street, May thought about tomorrow. Monday, back to school, back to navigating crowded hallways and new voices and all the challenges that came with being different. But something had changed. The whispers would be different now. The glances would hold respect instead of curiosity or pity. And maybe, just maybe, someone else would hear her music and find the courage to share their own light with the world. After all, some things can't be seen, only felt, only heard, only understood when we truly listen to each other. That was the real victory, far more valuable than any trophy could ever be.